Welcome back. In this lecture, we are going to understand about the variable type as map. So map or object you call. How you call the list as list or a tuple. So here you call map or a object. A group of values identified by named labels like name is equal to something and then age is equal to something. So all these things will be defined in a flower brackets. So we have seen the maps earlier also when we are working on resources meta argument for each. Okay, so now we are going to work on maps for variables. Okay, so we are going to define a map function for EC2 instance tags. Okay, so far if you see in our existing input variables list tags, you have hard coded these things. So now we will variabilize that. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to define a EC2 instance tags variable whose description is EC2 instance tags and whose type is going to be map of string. So for list, how you have put the list of string, so here you are going to put map of string and then you are going to define a default map here. Okay, so in a flower brackets and then key value pairs like this. Okay, so these becomes the tags for your EC2 instance and then reference them directly in your EC2 instance resource var.ec2 underscore instance underscore tags. Okay, so this is one use case we are going to implement, and one more use case with map we are going to implement with for same instance type. For instance type we have implemented list, right? So now we will implement map and then learn that. So first let's complete this and then understand about instance type with maps in a later step. Okay, so let's go back to our Visual Studio Code and in V801 input variable list. So let's copy these 4 files from here. Okay, and go to V802 input variables with maps. Okay, let's paste it here and then close all the older things and minimize this, and now let's go to C2 variables, right? So now we are going to define something called EC2 instance tags. So I will say control space and a variable and I will say EC2 underscore instance underscore tags, and for that control space and then description and I'll write it simply EC2 instance tags and control space, and the type of it is going to be map of string. Okay, so that's what we are going to define. So the variable type is going to be map of string, and next thing is we are going to provide the default values. So map will be in the flower brackets with key value pairs. Okay, so the first is we are going to define it as name and I'll say here and I'll say EC2 hyphen web, and one more if you want to add one more. Okay, so I'll say tier and I'll say web tier you can say. So this is what the EC2 instance tags. So you have defined a default map for it. So the same thing you can reference in your EC2 instance in C4 EC2 instance. So I'll remove the existing one here, and in tags I can say var.ec2 instance tags. Okay, so now if you run the Terraform plan here, okay, so let's go here and go to V802, right, and then Terraform, you need to download the provider, so let it download. So now if you run the Terraform plan, so we need to see the instance tags in a map format. So two tags whatever you have defined, those things will be listed. Okay, so let's go here, run the Terraform validate, always good to run it. So we will run it and I will say Terraform plan. So let's see what happens here. Okay, so it should show us the tags whatever we have defined in map of string, okay, in a variable. So let's go up. Okay, so let's go up. So you can see the tags here, right? So name is EC2 web and then tier is web. Okay, so that's what happened. So it's worked as expected. So now what we are going to do is we are going to implement a map function for instance type. Okay, so comment the existing EC2 instance type variable which is with list function. Okay, so first let's comment that here. So in C2 variables, so you have this, right? So this is the list function. Okay, so let's comment the EC2 instance variable here. So you know commenting, we learned it. Okay, so multiple lines you can comment with /* and then // in between them all the lines which you want to comment. Okay, so now we will define the variable EC2 instance type. Okay, so control space and then variable, and I will say EC2 underscore instance underscore type. So as usual we are going to provide the description EC2 instance type, right? And we'll also define the type. Okay, so type we said this time we are going to use map of string. Okay, and we are going to define the default map now. So let's define the default map now. So the default map is going to be like this. Okay, so for small apps I will use T3 micro, for medium apps I will use T3 medium, and for big apps I will use T3 large. So this is my map for EC2 instance type. Okay, so I can even go here and define this like this. Okay, so now you have defined this. So EC2 underscore instance type underscore map, also you can say, just say map, what is there. Okay, so you have commented the old one and you are saying EC2 instance type map. Okay, so now you can reference this like this, where dot EC2 instance type map of small apps means like whatever the key here. Okay, so you have seen this in for each dot key and then each dot value in the same way. So if you reference this key, value will be loaded in the respective argument. Okay, so let's go here and reference that. Okay, so we'll remove this, or you can comment this instance type here, so which you are using with the list, and then control space and then instance type, and here where dot right EC2 underscore instance type of map. Okay, and here you define what app you want to use. Okay, small apps, medium apps, and then big apps. So I will use big apps. Okay, big hyphen apps. Okay, so that is what is there here, right? So big hyphen apps. So I'll define big apps and it should give me T3 X large. Okay, so I'll also put this as X large or large, whatever it is. Okay, yeah. And now let's run the Terraform plan and then see what happens. So we are in V802 input variables with maps, and inside maps we are doing the second example. So let's go up, 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 up. And if you try to see the big apps we are using, so instance type is going to be T3 large, whatever is mapped for your big apps. Okay, T3 large. Okay, so this completes the learning of maps and then lists using input variables. Okay, so these are little complex ones, and we have successfully learned it. So I'll also clean up the .terraform folder here so that we will leave up with C1, C2, C3, and then C4. Okay, so in our next lecture we'll focus on learning about custom validation rules in variables. So I'll see you in the next lecture. Until then, bye bye. Thank you.